It went against everything I believed in. I was a fruit and veggie girl, vegetarian, carried my little Stanley around 24 hours a day with, a fruit smoothie in it and things like that. And I was out of options. I didn't have options left. And when I came across Keto Continuum and Dr. Boz, it was one of those, this is what I need to try. It's what I need to do. And I had the attitude in it of, what do I have to lose at this point, for one thing? And if you've got a checklist and tell me what to do, I'm in.
If you've been watching, you know that I take my ingredients very seriously, but there are 3 companies that I have found that I absolutely love. Check the description for discount codes.
Hello, welcome to my show. My name is Adrian, and this is a series where I interview different people who've inspired me to live a healthier life. Today I have my friend Tammy Labacher from Journey to Healing with Tammy. And she has such an inspirational story of how she's used food to heal, but also help others. So thank you so much for being here today, Tammy.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Adrian.
Could you tell us, how did you find your way to where you eat and how you function these days? Like, what happened?
From the ripe old age of 35, I was diagnosed with breast cancer after being a fitness instructor, personal trainer, lived a very healthy adult life until the moment that I did, life kind of got pulled out from under me at 35 when I found my lump. Triple negative breast cancer, mastectomy, reconstruction, chemo, radiation, all the things for the cancer. And it took my health completely backwards. I went from like 110 pounds to 210 pounds. Everything just went backwards. And I was on, fast forward, for 18 years. I came off of chemo and they had me on Oxycontin and Dilaudid for the next 18 years for the neuropathy, pain, and side effects from the chemo. So how I came across all of this was I was checking out. My body was given, I was in heart failure. I needed a walker to walk, pain meds 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I came across Dr. Boz, and she was the one that basically, my brain was fried from all the medications I was on, the torment, the seizures, everything I was having, anxiety, depression, all the things. And she was the one that had a checklist. And I know that sounds silly, but the checklist is what got me through, because there's a million good videos out there, but I didn't have the bandwidth in my brain to go sort them all and say, okay, today I need to do this. Tomorrow I need to do this. When is my chemistry ready for the next step? And I just wasn't able to put it all together. And when Dr. Boz had that checklist of going through Keto Continuum, it was like sold. It went against everything I believed in. I was a fruit and veggie girl, vegetarian, carried my little Stanley around 24 hours a day with, a fruit smoothie in it and things like that. And I was out of options. I didn't have options left. And when I came across Keto Continuum and Dr. Boz, it was one of those, this is what I need to try. It's what I need to do. And I had the attitude in it of, what do I have to lose at this point, for one thing? And if you've got a checklist and tell me what to do, I'm in.
What are the other things you tried prior to coming here? Just the standard old things, or?
Well, I'm also a medical massage therapist, so I'm in the health world over here. So I had access to some of the best equipment, the best things to try, biohacking, just about any way I could. Everything from dry needling, acupuncture, just biocharger. I've done biocharger, and they were all things that were all great, but it was not one in themselves was enough to be able to get me off the pain meds or to reduce my pain. So that was my goal. So I was trying everything, and I'm not saying they didn't work, but I needed more healing to happen so I could get to those levels of being able to use those as a tool. So I had to back up a little bit. And I mean, from the eating and the nutrition and the fruits and the veggies. And I was the crazy mom that sent my kids to school with granola for the whole class and the lunchbox and everything like that, full of crazy things that nobody else knew what it was. So it was just, I was that mom that didn't let the stuff in my house. And we lived that way, but it wasn't working. It was one of those, if what I was taught in all my medical classes and nutrition classes and stuff like that, if what I was taught was working, I would have been healthy, because I lived it. I lived it, breathed it, everything. And it was like, what I was doing was not working. My heart was giving out. I was needing a pacemaker defibrillator put in, all of these things that I was needing. And I was just at that point of, I need to tap out, I need time out for a minute. So to come across a different version of life, it was one of those, it was talked about jumping in by faith. It was just one of those, there was some connection with Dr. Boz that I had clear at the get-go. She's a small town girl trying to do things right. And I'm in a little town with 3,500 people that we grew up in. And I've always tried to help and be the health person in my town. So I connected to her. That emotional connection just helped me.
What is the keto continuum? What does that even mean?
Instantly Keto, the Keto Continuum, Dr. Boz's book that she wrote about her mama, Any Way You Can, was her first story helping her mama with cancer. Now, when I got into my cancer journey, my mama, the week my mama finished her chemo was the week I started. So we related on that topic again with our mamas and, trying to fight the cancer. So Dr. Boz did it to try to help Grandma Rose through her cancer. I was doing it to try to build through the side effects of what mine already did. So then Keto Continuum is the course that she made to stay consistently keto, which takes your chemistry from everybody's normal standard American diet one step at a time as we wake up those fat-based hormones, as we get those carbs down and teach the liver to start making ketones, as we move everything along, you go one step at a time as your chemistry can do it and as your body can do it. And us girls with hormone issues, it goes a lot slower than it does for, my hubby, he's got his man crushes Dr. Barry and they can jump in, just eat some meat, add some fat, and he's good to go and making ketones like a crazy person. But us girls with hormone issues, it takes longer, so we've got to go through those steps. So Keto Continuum just is what takes you through those steps one at a time. And that's how I teach her class in 3 levels. So you bring the beginners in, you teach them how to set up the kitchen, you teach them all their tools, get through the things. Then when they're ready and their tools are all in place, then we move you to the intermediate. And this is baseline metabolism, where we can churn out those hormones and wake everything up. We've all starved our hormones for how many decades of low fat. All those estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, leptin, ghrelin, all those fat-based hormones need woke up and fed and to wake up and do their job. And then we advance, we push over into the advanced level of fasting. And that is where the magic really happens for those of us that are cancer survivors with major damage. And Keto Continuum walks you through that. And that's why I love this course so much. That's why I coach it, teach it, walk it, talk it, live it, breathe it.
I'm getting a smile because I'm remembering we were at Hack Your Health and Keto Chow was throwing a party. And I would say the party was, let's say people were playing slow violin music. And then you and your team showed up and it was like a rock concert. You guys bring so much energy. It's very clear you live this way because of the energy and the brain power and the ability to speak and all that. You would have never guessed that you ever struggled with this. You would have never guessed. Can you tell us some of the things that you've healed through the Keto Continuum?
Absolutely. The biggest one that hits me first is the neuropathy. My neuropathy wasn't actually, first of all, let's back up. I probably was undiagnosed diabetic back then, coming off of chemo and everything, because I've carried fruit smoothies around my whole life, my whole adult life. So I probably was diabetic, just not being diagnosed. So moving forward in that, when I went through chemo, the chemo they gave me caused the neuropathy in my feet to get horrible, to the point that if I woke up in the middle of the night, I would crawl to the bathroom because my feet couldn't touch the floor if my pain meds wore off. So when they took me through all those pain meds, they took me through the Lyricas, Neurotins, all of those, and then they landed on Oxycontin and Dilaudid. Those meds pushed me through and I could function a little bit, but it was awful. So to get off those meds and the withdrawal off of Oxycontin, which is a whole nother horror story, but to get off of those, I had to heal the pain. So the neuropathy was the first one I was trying. And that is where there's so many things out there I tried. Like I said, all the different avenues that I tried, but nothing in itself took care of the neuropathy bad enough. And neuropathy pain is awful. I've had natural childbirth, mastectomy, reconstruction, more surgeries than I can count, and neuropathy pain is awful. So it was one of those, you just had to do what you had to do to try to heal that first. So that was first. Seizures was next. I was having seizures. I was in heart failure. My ejection fraction was critically low. Anxiety, depression, all the things with that. Hormones were all over the place, all of that. And I was on fistfuls of medications. That was their only answer to everything. It was take this pill for the side effect of this pill, for the side effect of that pill, for the side effect of that pill. It just snowballed. And it was one of those, I am down now. I am on one little pill that regulates my heart rate a little bit and an injection for my heart issue. And that's it. And everything, the seizures are gone. The neuropathy I can't say is gone, but I can walk around on cement floor where I used to not be able to. I can't do it all day. I can still feel it if I'm out there all day and not wearing tennis shoes or something like that. I can put on a pair of dress shoes and heels and walk now that, I never could. I remember my son getting married and thinking, what tennis shoes are going to look best with a dress? And it was that rude awakening of this is awful. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. So I've turned everything around in my life. Everything that was a major health issue to me personally, I've been able to turn around with this. And again, it went against everything I believed in, but I love that is why do the hard things, get in and do it, and you can fix it.
Wow. I don't want to reduce, like, what you've just said is so powerful. But I have one more question because people will just want to know. You had mentioned something about gaining 100 pounds through chemo. Clearly, you are not carrying that anymore. So, through your healing, did your body also kind of stabilize and come back down to a healthy weight?
Still, that is one thing that I still struggle with is I'm still carrying a lot of weight. My normal weight was 100, 110 pounds. So I am still way overweight for me, for my personal where I need to be. So I still struggle with that. But what we look at in ours is one thing Boz always says is, your cells, when your cells get healthy, the weight will come off. And I still have struggles that I'm still working with at the cellular level. I am still recovering from a heart attack. I'm still recovering from things that I'm having to work through. But it's one of those you just keep going and the weight will happen. And I keep convincing myself, be patient. We all want to lose that extra weight, but yeah, it just turns things around and makes you feel so much better. And it's one of those, again, I don't care what my coffin weighs. I want to feel good. I want to live life. I don't want to watch my kids pass me by. I want to live life with my grandkids and my kids and my family and my husband. I'm got the love of my life and I want to be able to enjoy that and blessed by God and I want to be able to live. And this gave me my life back. Like I was not able to go on date night. I walked with a walker. It was, it was awful. To have life back and vitality is what makes it all why I'm so passionate about it.
I completely agree. A year ago, I couldn't drive. I couldn't even drive.
And oh my gosh, I could relate. I don't drive we live in a little town. I don't drive out of our town. And I just drove yesterday clear out of our town to the big city beside us. And it was like, I was stressed. I'm not going to lie. I was stressed and tired, but I was frustrated more than anything just because what I was trying to accomplish. But I did it. I drove out of town.
And I couldn't hardly walk either. I had neuropathy so bad that my
Oh,
feet
no.
would burn and tingle, and somehow that's gone. It's
Amen.
amazing.
That's awesome.
And
Yep.
so it's way more than how you're paying. But I do have to say, I've seen you in real life, and you're absolutely gorgeous. I know what your picture before cancer looked like. I know what you're striving for. I support you. I'm totally in the same, like, it feels like middle ground, where you're definitely not, where you have been at one time, but you're not where you want to be. But health wise, we're
I'm
getting it,
living
girl.
life and can do things with my family. That's the blessing to me. So,
But you're absolutely glowing and gorgeous. Just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, so I know you are a coach. You're a primal health coach and a Dr. Boz coach. So what kind of coaching, what do you offer?
couple things. I do one-on-one if somebody wants the one-on-one work, but I really do think the win in this, and this is what Dr. Boz teaches even, is the community. So I love doing it in smaller groups. And then because once we get through the 3 levels of keto continuum and we do the beginner and then move into the intermediate and then we get into the advanced, then the win in it is Dr. Boz's brains course that I teach. And I love that it moves you right in there's no accident that she taught keto continuum and then the brains course. How do we heal from a TBI? How do we heal from alcohol? How do we heal from 18 years of Oxycontin in my brain? How do we heal from all of that and heal the brain? And you have to get ketones in circulation to do that. And so we teach keto continuum first. And then a couple times a year, I run the brains course and I can take everybody through her brains course. And it's just magic. Her brains course is brains from trauma to repair. And I do credit it to that's how I got off of 18 years of Oxycontin. Doing the brains course with the keto continuum helped me through that withdrawal. I mean, I was on 120 milligrams for 18 years. I mean, it was no easy task. And I do believe that's why I have no desire. I believe that is why the addiction doesn't knock on my door. I don't get that. Hey, I just had 7 shoulder surgeries in the last 2 years, and I've never once wanted to look back and say, oh, I got a bottle of Oxy in there. I'll just take one. Not, you'd have to hold me down to put one of those in me. I mean, just no desire. And I really credit that to getting in ketosis, pushing through the withdrawal, and doing the brain work to get the addiction out of my brain and heal my brain.
So if they come work with you, we're going to learn all the ins and outs of how this all works, but I kind of want to ask you a little bit about it. Like one big question I constantly have is I'm eating a carnivore diet for autoimmune because it's lower inflammatory, but working with some of my coaches throughout time, we've worked on the ketosis, we've done some keto monitoring. What is the difference between a keto diet and a carnivore diet?
Okay, I think this is a big win because I think there's so much of it. I love the mindset of being carnivore because I think it's just an easier way for a patient to be able to navigate, what do I eat? Well, I'm carnivore. So that answers that first question. I can go into eat the meat, add the fat, cut the shit. It's basically how we call it. So put the meat on your plate, eat the meat, and that's carnivore. All the meat you can eat, fill it up. When we want ketosis, I want ketones in circulation, and that requires fat. So sometimes with just eating carnivore, you're not getting enough fat in to teach the liver to make ketones. Some people can go drink a ketone and they think they're in ketosis, but that is not teaching my liver to make ketones. I want ketones in circulation for my brain health. I want my liver to learn how to make a ketone, and that requires more fat. So it's one of those, we've got to put it together, have the carnivore mindset of here's my main food is eating the carnivore, but I still have to add those fats to get those ketones in circulation and to get the fat cell to open up the fat to get fat adapted so that I can then live off my own fat, kind of thing. And those take steps, especially for us girls that have that, that fat stuck behind the cell. So it's one of those, the steps in it. I love the carnivore mindset, but we take it one step further and say, okay, but add the fat so you have ketones in circulation too. Just low carb doesn't make ketones, doesn't put the ketones in circulation steady like we need it to heal. Now if you're just somebody dropping some weight and, losing some inflammation, that would work. But when we need ketones in circulation to heal at the cellular level, to us, we like adding that fat in there, get the ketones in circulation. And I can feel a night and day difference when my DBR, which is our Dr. Boz ratio, gets us nice and low. That's when I feel good. That's when my energy comes back. That's when, I've got 4 computer screens staring at me and I can navigate that. That's, we do all of our coaching classes, our lives, everything within our fasting days because the ketones are so good.
Can we eat any fat to do this, or are there specific fats that are more helpful? Or
good fats, no seed oils, none of the crappy stuff. We want good avocado oil, olive oil, butter, MCT, bacon fat, bacon grease, tallow, brown butter bites. We use a lot, hollandaise sauce, egg yolks, all those good healthy fats. No crappy, nothing crappy like that. But we want to just cut out, eliminate all the nasty stuff, and give your body back the nutrition that we need.
I've noticed that my ketones seem to do the best or be the highest if I incorporate some fasting. And I've tried
Mm-hmm.
3 different types of fasts, and I'm wondering if you could tell us what your thoughts are them. And the 3 fasts I've done are a water fast, a fat fast, and a sardine fast.
Okay. You listen to Dr. Boz too.
I love
Yes. So
her.
the different fasts that we do, and I think there is a magic in it and everybody's chemistry. The couple of things that we do a little bit different with Dr. Boz is we get you into ketosis too fast. A lot of people will fast you to get you into ketosis. And the benefits of the norepinephrine and the hormones and all that surge when you get in ketosis first, the benefits of that clean fast then is just huge. And I know there's a lot of different ones out there. I don't like me some sardines, but I love what they do for my body. So I do not sit down and just enjoy a sardine meal, but I love what they do for my body. So when we do the 3 days of sardines with Dr. Boz, I jump in and do them right with everybody else. It is a way, I will tell you, when we have 200 people in her 21-day metabolic kick and you're looking at 21 people and everybody's numbers across the board skyrocket with these sardines, you're doing something right. So it's one of those, yes, clean water fast. What we do with the advanced program in Dr. Boz is we take a 72-hour clean 8 weeks in a row to deep clean that liver, to get the liver cleaned out, the glycogen out of that liver and everything, to get you steadily cleaned out making ketones. That is where the magic happens for those of us that are metabolically broken. But we take weeks and weeks to build that chemistry to get to fasting. Then we do that. So that's a clean fast. So when we say a clean fast, we really mean water, salt, black coffee, black tea at best. Sardine challenge is the other one we do. We don't call that one a fast. We call it a challenge, but it's nothing but sardines for 3 days. And again, it's magic when you see it happen to 200 people at one time. It's just, what was the other one you did?
A fat fast.
Fat.
Fat
Now that is one
challenge.
I'd be curious on that. Yeah, I'd be curious on that. I don't know. I haven't tried that one. I would love to.
I've only done it one time, and it did make crazy ketone numbers.
I bet you. I bet you.
crazy
But that's
ketone
telling me that
numbers.
that tells me your liver is doing good. Then you get the fat in there and your liver can make a ketone. That's awesome. And
How
you know
can
what?
we?
For all of us girls with the fat based hormone issues, think how good it would be to be able to do that and get them stimulated and woke up. That might be a really good idea. I would love to. We should bring our groups together and do that.
Yeah, it's the best one that I had was in. It wasn't just any fats. It wasn't like mayonnaise. It wasn't avocado oil. It was chewing beef trimmings, frying them up, beef trimmings, because that beef fat was just really magical.
We'll
So
have to talk on that. I'm willing to try that one. I That sounds interesting.
a lot of people will say, I mean, I hear this a lot, especially I hate to say it in the carnivore community, where people will poo-hoo eating more fat. And they will say, and I've experienced this too, where I've gained weight eating too much fat,
Yep.
or just kind of feeling puffy. But that's not even my problem. My problem is some people will say, if I eat a keto diet, I'm eating too much fat and not enough protein. Before I finish this question, I want to say I recently interviewed a guy named Casey who literally was testing people and doing body scans, and he didn't see muscle loss from fat burner energy burners. But
Yep.
do you have any information on that? On is there any concern with eating the higher fat and the lower protein? Because if you or do we eat high fat and high protein? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We go in and there's a way Dr. Boz has us set our numbers up, and it does bring down that smaller bolus of food. So you're not putting so much at one time, so you're not getting as big of an insulin response. So that seems to change that number a little bit. And when you move that window closer to daylight, that seems to help keep those numbers good and get the fats in you and everything. But you can get the fats and you get the protein. Protein ends up not as important. We put it this way: if you're hitting your fat macros, I tell my people to fill up on the protein because yes, for a while you're going to, I mean, I know my own husband, I swear to God, he ate a steak the size of his head. And it was one of those at first because I promised him, I will never ask you to go to work hungry. I will never, ask you to walk away from doing this with me, with your support, but I don't want you to walk away feeling crappy. So let's get your fat macros in you first, then we'll adjust the protein. But that protein adjusts for most of my people. And I see it across the board with my coaching patients that you start out with a huge amount of protein because you think, oh my gosh, I'm only eating 1 or 2 meals a day. I need to get this protein in. And if you get those healthy fats in first and make sure you're hitting those numbers, the protein will navigate itself down to a healthy, good level. Because after a while, I mean, what we used to eat when we started this 5 years ago, that lasts us for 3 meals now. It's not on a purposeful thing, but it's a gradual graduation that you move to. I think your body adjusts as you get healthier and you think, oh my God, I don't need a 2 pound ribeye. Plus, another lesson that we learned really good on that is if 4.5 ounces of sardines will fill me up just fine, I don't need a 22-ounce ribeye to fill me up. You learn the mindset when you do the brain health and you realize what's the dopamine you're really looking for. What is that response you're looking for that big old 5 pounds of meat's giving you. So when you get that all narrowed down and you work through all those issues of the brain health in it and the, that dopamine response that you're looking for, the meat and the fat you got to prioritize the fat, but that protein will work its way out later when they quit work trying to gorge on it.
When I think of keto, I think of, I'm going to be honest, I think of keto desserts. I think of keto bread. I think of
Yep.
keto pie. I think of all the keto funness, all the vegetables, all the fruits. Is that a big part of keto continuum? Is that allowed in the keto continuum? Could you tell us where that fits in, if at all?
Here's the difference. We look at the keto world and we do nutritional ketosis by checking our numbers every day, every morning, first thing when we wake up. That tells us I want my body in a healing mode more than it's in an inflammatory mode. And nutritional ketosis is how we navigate that. That DBR is what is our compass in the sand. It's just that how do we navigate our chemistry? And we do that every morning by getting that chemistry correct and moving forward. And it's such a different, we don't get into that. I mean, when we are under, Dr. Boz's rule is under 20 carbs for beginners, total carbs, no net carbs. There's no subtracting anything. It goes in your mouth, it counts. Those of us that have been in this a while are easily under 10 a day. Most of us are under 5 a day. So when you get that down there, then that DBR can raise and, drop down and get lower, and that that chemistry shift just keeps going, and it gets better and better. But you got to just put the noise away. Most of us that are that metabolically broken now, our young kids that haven't been damaged in decades of insulin resistance, may be able to do that. My little ones can have, a few blueberries or blackberries or something once in a while, but I can eat that same. I got a big old blueberry bush right outside my window, and they're in season, for that week or two through the year. Kids can eat them all day long, and it's once in a while they're in for that season, and I eat them, and my numbers would be awful the next morning. I mean, it's a difference of the health what health you're going into it with. But the outside world of the keto stuff and keto packs, first of all, if it's got a label on it and says keto on it, we shouldn't be eating it anyway. So,
Yeah. Like one package of keto gummy bears has 38 grams of carbs.
Right? Like,
And people don't realize,
week.
but they'll look and they'll say, well, net, it's only 2 carbs. And then they'll have all kinds of gas because of all the added fiber. And
we look at it this way. If it goes in your mouth, it gets counted as a total carb. You don't get to subtract anything because of it. So.
Yes. How about exogenous ketones? Like, I'm kind of a cheater. Can I just take some exogenous ketones and call it a day?
The first year I did this, I tried to tough it out because I thought I'll just force my body to do it and force my body to make a ketone. And I was miserable. It was awful. The second time through is when I started to supplement and help my body. And now I've learned many steps ahead of, there's a time and a place for exogenous ketones. They are not an everyday all the time, because the goal in using them is, first of all, if I have a day where, okay, we've ate at a restaurant, I might've got some crappy food and crappy spices or something in me, even if I ate well, exogenous ketones will help get the brain going. First of all, it will help stimulate the liver to make ketones, those kind of things. And it gives me that little boost of energy that I may need, that I'm going to be lacking. Now, next step in that is when we go to the MCT capsules to help the liver learn to make ketones. So we use them as tools. They're not an everyday thing, because our goal is to get your liver to make them yourself, so that you are now get that ball rolling of nutritional ketosis and the liver making ketones in circulation all the time to heal. So we drink them when we need them. Now, I love Dr. Boz's pucker because there's no flavors in it. That's the other problem with ketones, is there's no flavors, no sweeteners, no nothing. So they are okay. I'm so sensitive to any flavors or sweeteners. I can't do them when I'm trying to get my numbers good. The sweeteners are just, and we have a lot of people with brain addiction that are addicted to sweets, that we don't want to stimulate that sweet tooth just to get ketones in. So
I was just going to ask you about that, because her chocolate ketones are...
They're so good. They're so good. And they're so good for my kids when I make them hot chocolate. They're great for the kids. And just putting a pinch of it in some black coffee, because I'm still trying to wipe out that cream in my coffee. But she has the pucker up, and the pucker up is the one with nothing in it. And we have to just walk away from those yummy flavors of it. But again, that's the dopamine we're looking for in the brain. So we want that dopamine response of the sweetness of the chocolate, all of that. So we go straight to the pucker up. I don't even... The chocolate, I love it. The Mexican chocolate is good. The strawberry raspberry is so good. They're all so good. But they stimulate that sweet tooth and they make me want more. So those are good for the kids. Those are treats for the kids. But the pucker up is the one I use when I need it.
Do you, okay, let's talk about some obstacles to maintaining your ketosis. Is dairy an issue at all? Because it has a little bit of carb in it and it's a little bit addicting. Is it a problem at all, or not really, because it's full of fat and it's an animal-based product?
No, absolutely, it's a problem. So I will tell you, most of my girls across the board here, right? I'm a heavy cream girl. We live in a farm community, so I got access to the best, freshest cream you can get your hands on. And it's one of those, it fits perfectly in my macros. It fits in there. I got plenty of room in my numbers for it, but my body does not like it. And I think I have to prove it to myself about every 2 months to just say, hey, I'm going to try some cream again and see what my numbers do. Well, they tank every time, right? So it's one of those, yes, it fits in the macros, but I will tell you, and I mean this across the board, and this is after hundreds of coaching patients coming through, it does not fit in most of our bodies. Most of us there is not. So is it a treat at the beginning? Yes. Does it help you learn to like that fatty coffee in the morning and get some fats going to get that fat going in the morning? Yes. But intermediate level, about level keto continuum number 5, I think it is, we pull that cream out of that morning coffee anyway. So it's almost one of those things. Let's not even get started in it because it is addicting. It is that hug. I mean, it is still my biggest thing. I've given up everything else. I've given up the fruits, the veggies, the snacks, the chips. I can do all that. That cream, that little bit of hug that I want from that cream, it's my best friend and it has to go. Like it has to go.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I go through periods where I don't have it, like
Yep.
long periods, and then it'll come back. And so I'm almost accepting that healing just isn't going to be perfect, but the best healing is going to be when I'm at it
Yep.
and
And
try
when
to have
that
some
step,
compassion for myself.
yeah, when that step is important for you, you'll wipe it out and you'll be done. And then you'll realize, okay, I'm at the point, the cream is my detriment right now and it needs to go. And you'll take that step, but you've got the mindset by then. Then you've worked on the brain health enough to say, you know what, cream is not going to be my dopamine. You're sitting there saying, I've got all these babies staring in front of me. I got enough dopamine in front of me. You don't need the cream. And you will work through that and talk through that. And we actually journal you through it and tell you, this is how we work through that emotion that you connect to cream. It's my warm hug. I need to work through the emotion. When I want that warm hug, I need to do something else to find the dopamine instead of having the cream.
Yeah.
You'll get there. You will.
So I've looked at the continuum and I'm like, I can skip step 1 totally. But I'll tell
And
you why I know I can't, too. And you can tell us more on this. I think my hormones are off for 2 reasons. Number 1, I'm still a grazer. I don't know if that's innate habit from I had
mhm,
gastric bypass, so I was told to eat small meals
absolutely,
throughout
you're
the
going to
day.
die if you don't eat.
Yeah, I was told even on The Biggest Loser, I was told have 3 meals and 2 snacks. That's 5 times you're eating a day. And then when my blood sugar got crazy after gastric bypass, I was told just eat every 5 minutes, whatever you got to do to keep that blood sugar from dropping. And but I think mostly though at this point, it's emotional, habitual, and maybe a little bit hormonal to just
Yep.
be grazing. And I've struggled even with a sardine challenge to maintain high ketone numbers because I'll eat 2 sardines here, 2 sardines there, and I'll just eat 2 sardines all day long. Yeah, so that's one
That
reason.
is
The number 2 was during my sardine challenge, I didn't see my numbers go well. And I did it for it took 5 days to burn off the glycogen in my liver.
right. Well, a lot of that is why Keto Continuum is 12 steps and you cannot hopscotch through them. We all tried. And I will tell you, every one of my veterans that hopscotch through them and push through skip the ones you didn't feel like doing, they crash and burn and you go back to the beginning and we start over. That is exactly why I broke it up into 3 levels so that you know what? My 20-year-old that's nice and healthy that gets in, they can get in and they're going to get those 4 weeks of that established and they're going to move into intermediate and they're fine and good to go. Us girls with hormone issues, when we get in there, if we do not get that foundation laid and do just like you're saying, those things get harder and harder. And then when they want to, oh, I'll just go ahead and go to, intermediate, I'm okay. And you push there and you get there and you realize, oh, hell no, no, I'm not. You've got to step through each one of those steps. You got to wake the hormones up. Then you close that eating window. Then we work on the snacking. Then we make it too clean meals, not all over grazing and things like that. And when you work through those habits and break those strongholds one step at a time, it becomes manageable. It's one little step at a time. It's not, oh my God, you're down to 1 meal a day and that's all you eat. It's not because we're starving. It's because we've trained our brain and our body and our chemistry to go there. You get there one step at a time. And if you would have told, if I look at my beginners and say, you know what, in 3 months, you're going to be going 3 days without eating, I would lose them, because I remember doing the same thing when I started Keto Continuum. It's like, I'll do this silly course. I'll give up all the food. I'm bullheaded. I can do anything. I can push myself into not eating something. That's okay. I'm strong enough to do that. There is no way I'm fasting because I will die, kind of thing. I
Yeah,
remember
it'll
that.
be painful. Yeah.
There's no way I could do it. And now it is the best. I look so forward to it. We start on Sunday. We end our fast on Wednesday. We go to church, come home, have family dinner, and our fast starts. We break Wednesday when Lance comes home from work, and it's the best. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are coaching days, live on YouTube. Everything happens during Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because we feel so good. I love it.
That's amazing. And it's really not based on something someone made up. It's really, really based on science. I've seen a lot of
Absolutely.
critics of Dr. Boz, and she fights back with science and research and members who have felt better. I mean, I'm totally sold. I got to do this sometime this fall. How long does Keto
And
Continuum take?
Keto Continuum, I break it up in at least 3 sections. So I do the beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and I at least 1 month in each section. So it's one of those just to get that chemistry going. Now, a lot of my people, some of them don't want to go to fasting. They stand there, but that's not their goal. And that's okay because we get you in that intermediate. Let's get you to a healthy baseline, anyways. Let's get you there and stay there. Some people live right there and stay right there. Now, Lance and I, we churn right there. We live at that intermediate level, but every so many months we hit it out in a season, and we hit those 8 weeks of 72s, and we push into that advanced, but then we come right back. And that is where that magic. So we keep deep cleaning, we keep going, but we learn to do it with our calendar, we learn to do it with family functions, we learn to do it through the holidays, how you navigate all of that, and you learn to do it in a season. So it's 3 months if you want to go bam, 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 bam. You can get through it. It's rough, but I will say most people spend, a week or a month or two at the beginning. Then the middle one is where it's like, okay, stay right here until you're ready. When you're ready to push, then we'll push you into advanced. And if not, you stay right here at Keto Continuum in 5 through 8. And we just keep churning out your chemistry till this becomes a lifestyle. This isn't a diet that you're going to be done in 12 weeks. This is a lifestyle to teach you how to do it. How do you go to a birthday party? How do you go on date night with your husband? How do you go, celebrate with your kids? I mean, I got grandkids we're having birthday parties for. My daughter's learned how to make cakes out of some keto chow, and if they're not perfect for us adults, but they're perfect for my kids, and they're a heck of a lot better than anything we're going to go buy at the store for them. So it's one of those things. We learn how to make those treats. It's, again, I can't eat it, but my kids can, for right now, for a treat once in a while. So it's little things like that we'll get there. It's one step at a time, but learning to do it as a family, learning to do it through a holiday, learning to do it when life kicks you in the gut. I just buried my brother, and we went through that season of you're just grieving, you're just hurting, and you turn to food because it's our comfort. Learning to navigate through that, learning to lay those things down. And you know what? There's nothing I'm going to eat that's going to bring my brother back. There's nothing that's you have to journal it. We talk through it, work through it, think through it to try to work through it. It's like this, it's not food I want. I want my little brother back. And when you can literally write that stuff out and put the emotion and connect it to it, it becomes easier. It does. It really helps you. So
I'm so
I love it.
sorry for your loss.
Oh, we're good.
That's heartbreaking. I did want to, so it kind of sounds to me like you're saying your program isn't just about what you eat. It's about journaling and managing, and what do we do with the dopamine that we're looking for. So it's a lot more than just that one piece.
Absolutely.
And I
And that's how we
know,
get into the brain health too. The brain courses where the magic is.
I think Biggest Loser was like I was convinced that I needed to work out to get rid of the fat, and that
Yep.
working out was the key, and then also the food. And it turned out the working out doesn't lose the fat, the food loses the fat. So we had it
Yep.
wrong. But then we never had a piece about swapping. It was just like, if you just exercise 12 hours a
Just
day
work
for the
more.
rest of your life and don't eat, then you'll be skinny. And there was no other
No
part
other
of
realm.
it. And there's so much more to this.
There is. It's such a bigger story, I think, than I was a personal trainer, as a fitness instructor, and all of that. And it's like what we were taught back then. Like you're saying, it's calories in, calories out, and how many calories can you burn? And I think having an open mind and learning, if that worked, we wouldn't all be pre-diabetic, diabetic, insulin resistant, neuropathy. We wouldn't all be so sick. So it was one of those, you kind of got to step back for a minute and think, if what we were all doing would work, we would all be healthy, and it's just not, that's just not where we're at.
And going back to the most important piece here, we were only focused on weight loss. We weren't focused
Right.
on why were we big to begin with, the metabolic, the
Yes.
hormones.
The
We weren't
cells.
working on the actual issue here, and we were actually causing more issues by putting our bodies into starvation and causing injury.
Absolutely.
So I love this. This seems much more of like a lifelong living your best life. I mean, like you said, you were on all those drugs, and I mean, just debilitated. And now look at you. You're thriving and helping people.
I love
It's
it.
amazing. You had mentioned something about kids, and this is so, so deeply important to me because we were just at the Mall of America, and my people watching has changed these days. It's looking
Right.
around and seeing, unfortunately, some beautiful, healthy families running around and going, oh, that's so wonderful. Look how beautiful and healthy they are. But then seeing so many kids with twitches, emotional issues, neurological issues, weight issues, seeing all these issues in our kids right now. And so I know with my kids, I'm working on feeding them more fat. I know it's good for their brains. And two of my kids, I think, are having inflammation in their brain. And definitely one of my kids has a metabolic issue. Now, I think you had mentioned before we started that you are helping people heal their kids as well and help them live a healthy life. What does that
Yes.
mean?
Right now, what we're getting ready to do, we are pulling all of our programs off of Facebook and being able to put them on a private platform so we can bring the kids in. And we want it to be a healthy kids club where we can come in and teach them. Because when you do the brains course with Dr. Paz, you learn that hippocampus is growing with these kids being so little, and we have a direct effect on our children's future. And my kids are grown and I have little grandkids, but God, what I would give for a do-over, because I sent my kid to school with a Ninja Turtle thermos with this colon cleanse in it and a fruit smoothie every day. What we could do, the things we could learn, because if when you do look around and people watch and you see these children that if they're having metabolic issues at 10, can you imagine what they're going to be at 30 and 40, 50 years old? So we can, I mean, and that's where with the parents, I challenge them. It's like, you have more control than you realize for your child's direct future. You have, is he going to be Dr. Boss talks something about is he going to be your 20-year-old living in your basement, 30-year-old living in your basement? Is he going to be the guy that marries the 20-year-old, gets divorced at 30, comes back and marries another 20-year-old, gets divorced again, comes back and marries another 20, because his brain never developed past a 20-year-old level because of life and alcohol and drugs and sugar in the brain. And it's all those things. When you bring it all together, we have so much control over the brain and the development of our kids, and we can change the trajectory of their life by growing a healthy hippocampus and brain in those kids. And you have a window to succeed at that. And it's for mamas, it's like, that's why we're trying to bring this healthy kids club in, bring the kids and teach the mamas how to do it. And the other thing that we're trying to do is challenge the men of the families, to be the godly leaders of the household. That it's like, what? The men should not be the next child. The men should not be, the other fight for the poor mama that's trying to feed everybody and keep food on the table and keep everybody happy. We want the men to stand up and be the leaders and say, you know what? We got this, and I'm going to help mom. And this is what me and mom are saying. We buy the groceries, you will eat, you're not going to starve to death, and teach families how to do that as a family and say, you know what? The men need to lead. Mamas are cooking and putting food on the table and taking care of kids all day, and the kids will eat when they get hungry. So, yep, they're going to throw fits. Yep, they're not going to be happy. But you know what? They can't eat it if we don't buy it and bring it home and give it to them. So, it's not going to be perfect when they go to school and they're out in the whole world. But you know what? No different than coming home. Home is safe ground. Home is healthy ground. Home is where the kids will grow and heal and get healthy. They're going to have life out there. They're going to go to their friend's house and have pizza. That's okay. They're going to go to do things like that. They're going to have donuts one day when they wake up, and somebody's going to give, whatever. But at home, it's safe ground. It's teaching families to do that. So that's my heart and soul, is what I wish I could have a do-over with my big kids, to be able to share how to grow a healthy brain.
I could just cry when you say that, because I look at my oldest, who I didn't know. I thought I was feeding him this healthy diet, but it actually started earlier than that. I've found out now through research that it started in my pregnancy, having
Absolutely.
undiagnosed insulin issues imprinted on this poor guy. And he
Yep.
struggled with his metabolism his entire life. Now, my littlest guy, I learned so much, and I ate red meat and I ate eggs and I ate butter while I was pregnant with him. And then since his first food was steak, and when it's time for a snack, he goes, give me pork rind, mama, pork rind. And
Oh,
then
amen.
instead of juice, he goes, I want you. And he goes, give me water. And he loves salty, the keto chow salty.
Yes.
He loves it.
Perfect.
He loves it. But then the two middle kids, so we got the whole spectrum. And I wish I would have known what I known. But we can just start now, and I'm grateful I know now. So
Tomorrow's better, and good job, mama.
where can people find these groups and this help?
Go to our website, journeytoketo.com. Everything is on there. The Keto Kids is just getting launched, so that one's going to be here in the next few weeks. Will be coming up. Journeytoketo.com has all the Dr. Boz courses that we teach, the brains course, the beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And then I do the brains a couple times a year. I don't do that one all the time. But then the kids one will be in there as well within the next few weeks. It's literally, we just building this program so we could get everybody off of Facebook and keep the kids safe. So it was just one of those, I struggled over there on Facebook with the rules and creepers getting in the groups that I had private. And if I wouldn't put my own kids in it, I don't want to put anybody else's. So we just put a timeout on it and we're moving everybody off of Facebook now. So we will be at it soon. So please keep checking back to journeytoketo.com. We'd be happy to share.
Amazing. Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story of hope, your story of healing, and how you're helping people out there. I can't wait to give this a try. You guys watch. I'm going to be doing the Keto Continuum because I'd really like to continue to heal. I am grateful for where I'm at, but I want to be the best mom and hopefully one day grandma like
Right?
you.
But don't you think none of us need to quit learning? If we just keep learning and growing, we
Never.
can help each other and keep applying what we learn. Some it might pertain to you right now, but later on it might, something different might pertain. And it's like, just keep learning. So thank you for having
Yes.
me, Adrian. And I'm so proud. You're such an inspiration and such a good mama, and what I would give to have a do-over. So you're in a perfect spot. So take advantage of it and enjoy every moment because it goes quick.
Well, thank you again, Tammy. So everybody, if you liked this, please like, subscribe, and share, and have a great day.